Hey, I got a question for you. Have you ever been to the dump? And no, I'm not talking about the bathroom. I'm talking about the dump. Taking everything in your home that you don't want, loading it all up into your car, and then driving it all to the dump, where you pay them to take it off your hands. Or you could take all the crap you don't want, stick it on your front lawn, and then have other people give you money to take it off your hands. Ladies and gentlemen, may I introduce you to the yard sale, perhaps one of humankind's greatest ideas ever. I mean, charging people money to take away your junk, how can you lose? Well, how about if you sell them a copy of Musha for $1? Oops, because you didn't realize it was worth anything. Yeah, that's a losing proposition, but you know what they say about losing? It means that somebody else is winning, and if you're a retro gamer in the yard sale market, then you're hoping that winning is going to be done by you. I did not get this for $1 from a yard sale. I certainly tried to, but nope. Now, whenever this topic comes up, there's almost always some people who will say, whoa, isn't that ripping people off, paying so little for something that's worth a lot? And this is where opinions can be very divided. For the people who are okay with doing it, they'll just tell you, well, you know, they ask a price and I pay it. It's as simple as that. It's not my responsibility to tell them what it's worth. And a lot of times when people are having a yard sale, they're not in it for the money, they're just trying to get rid of something that they no longer use. But if your conscience does weigh on you for this sort of thing and the Jiminy Cricket on your shoulder simply will not leave you alone, you've got some options. Option number one, don't buy it. And heck, while you're at it, I would say just don't even go in the first place. I mean, talk about a tease. Can you imagine going to a yard sale and being like, oh my goodness, something really rare and awesome that's cheap? And then they say, okay, so do you want to buy it? And you say, oh, you know I would, but Jiminy Cricket would just never let me. And then you turn around and leave, which leads to option number two. You could tell them, hey, look, this is worth a lot more than what you're charging for. And from what I've heard when people do that, which granted, I haven't heard of very many people actually doing that, but in the rare cases where people are upfront about that and say that, usually the seller will just say, you know what, that's fine. I'm just trying to get rid of this because I never use it. And if it's something you're really excited about, then great for you. But all of this is assuming that you're going to find something awesome at a yard sale to begin with, which, as many people who have been to yard sales will tell you, is far from a guarantee, and some would even tell you is extremely unlikely. I can tell you from my personal experience, and this was about 12 years ago that I did a lot of my going to yard sales, I never found anything. I don't think I've ever bought a single thing from a yard sale. In fact, the best thing I ever found at a yard sale was this one couple. They had this dog. It wasn't for sale, it was just out in the yard because, you know, dogs like to be outside and they were outside, so it was just out there doing its thing. And they let me pet the dog and throw a ball for the dog, and so that was pretty fun. That was pretty awesome, but no video games. Now, some people will tell you that if you're not finding anything at yard sales, it's because you're not looking properly. But not looking properly, how do you screw that up? You just open your eyes and you look. Ah, if only it were that simple. It's the things you can't see because they're still back in their house. So what do? Say, excuse me, would you mind if I come into your home and snoop around? Nope. Not necessary. All you gotta do is kindly ask them, you wouldn't happen to have any old video games, would you? And if they do, then lucky you, and they bring them out. Hopefully it's some games you're actually interested in. I remember one time it happened to me. They said, oh yeah, I got some old video games. Just give me a minute, I'll go back and get them. So they went into their house to get their old video games, and I thought, all right, this is it. This is gonna be the time. And then they came back out with some Leapfrog stuff, which maybe that's exciting for somebody, but not for me. Here's the thing about finding old games at yard sales. It obviously has happened before and does still continue to happen, even if it's maybe not as often as it used to be. But what happens is people get the wrong idea as far as what the probabilities are. People make these videos sharing, understandably, their really amazing yard sale finds. So then people watch these videos, and the whole idea of finding awesome rare games for super cheap at yard sales gets super romanticized, and it may give some people the wrong impression where they think, all right, I'm gonna go to these yard sales and it's gonna be just like that video I saw, and then I can make my own video about it. And for a lot of people, all it takes is one successful yard sale venture and they're a believer for life. They find something cool, they get a taste of that sweet juice, and they just keep on coming back for more. Every time they head to a yard sale, they think this could be it. This could be the time. You never know what you might find. But if you're having a low success rate, or in my case, a non-existent success rate, then it gets to the point where, for me at least, I started to think it is just not worth the time that I am putting into looking. However, if you're somebody who enjoys the search itself, then you've set yourself up for a win-win situation, because just by going out and looking, you already win. And then if you find something on top of that, then it's a double win. And that would be my answer to the topic of this video. It's only worth looking if you're going to have fun regardless of what you find. Now, when it comes to what people are looking for, some people will try to increase their odds of finding something by expanding what it is that they're looking for. So, for example, maybe instead of just looking for Game Boy and Super Nintendo games, they look for games for, I don't know, all the consoles. That way they have better odds of finding something. Heck, some people expand their search to include things beyond just video games to increase their odds even further. But I think regardless of what you're looking for, you gotta ask yourself, are these things that I really do want? Because if you're just looking for things for the sake of being able to find something and be like, yeah, I found something, then it may not be worth your time when it gets down to it. You might get to a point where you think, do I really need a backup copy of Sonic the Hedgehog 1, not for resale edition with half the label torn off? Yeah, that's another thing about yard sales. If you do happen to find something you want, who knows what kind of condition it's going to be in. Now, if it's in good condition, then great. But if it's not in good condition, well, I suppose maybe you don't care about condition and then you're set that way. But if you do care about condition, then you may be out of luck. I would say that where you live matters a lot too. It seems like some towns are just better than others for finding stuff. But then there's also more competition in some towns than other ones too. So maybe you live somewhere that hits that sweet spot of lots of stuff to find and not very many other people competing with you to find that stuff. But wherever you live, it sure does seem like more and more people are becoming aware of the fact that video games are indeed something that have value. Alright, but that about does it for my thoughts for this video's question. I thought it would be fun to ask you, what kind of luck have you had at yard sales? And specifically, how has that luck changed over the years? I've never found anything at yard sales. Flea markets are a different story, but yard sales, nothing. So with that, leave your comment down below, and I will see ya in the next video.
He's the retro bird, yeah. And he's talking about video games. He's the red